Aloha, welcome to the Aloha Friday Show with the Sandwich Island Social Network. My name is Kamaka Brown, and each week we have great conversations with island people and island hearts. And our show is an interactive, chat-driven show. We invite you to join in with comments, questions. You get extra malasadas, you get a plate lunch from Rainbows. No scared, jump in, bring them all. We love we love all any kind of makana you get to the Aloha Friday show. I want to give a shout out to Brother Don Kaukai of ReasonSeeingCo.com. Actually, Brother Don, several weeks ago, he asked if I remember Aunty Genoa Keawe. And I said, hey, stop it, bro. I still have PTSD from the 9th grade when I was trying to see how long I can hold my breath when Auntie was singing that long note on Alika. I think I went pass out, bro. I still not the same today. And Don said, well, get over it, bro, because I think her son, Eric Keawe, would be a great guest on the Aloha Friday show. So if I pass out or whatever, I'm going to blame Brother Don over there. I'm going to point finger at Don. So all the way from his home on Oahu, I believe on the slopes of Papakolea, somewhere close by, please welcome to the Aloha Friday show, Eric Keawe. Welcome, Brother Eric.
Aloha! You're doing a great job, Kamaka.
Okay, so we get the Menehunis. When we get guests, they always do this. They're Menehunis. Them buggers are rascal, man. You know, they're always acting up over here. But today they were
awesome.
on the spot.
I need them in my yard for help move rock.
Ooh. Gotta move the pohaku around, eh? Oh, man. And I have to get this out of the way right up front, everybody. Right up front. This show is full transparency. Us all, I'm not wearing pants. That's the first thing. And the second thing is Brother Eric and I, us guys hit it off immediately as soon as we discovered that he and I matriculated. Oh, that's some big word. He and I went matriculate on the same educational edifice on the slopes of Papakolea. Us guys are both Roosevelt Rough Riders. Oh, man.
All hail, hail, hail.
So Kamaka Brown is class of 65. Eric Keawe, class of 74. That makes me 102 years old and Eric only 27. Bro, you look good for 27.
Just 9 years apart, bro. We keeping things good. We keeping things young.
You handsome bugger. Must be those good Keawe genes keeping you young, bro.
It's one of those things when you get modern technology that you can be able to keep yourself looking young.
Now, your mother, Aunty Genoa Keawe, was a Hawaiian woman way ahead of her time in so many ways. And we'll get into that as we go through our show today. And once again, we'd like to invite anyone that's watching. You are certainly invited to be part of the conversation. So you can go ahead and put your comments in posting, and I will see those comments. You want to say aloha to Eric or make comments about your memories with Aunty Genoa, please go ahead and do that. A little bit later on in the show, Eric's daughter, Pomaika'i, and his granddaughter, Malie. We're going to have 3 generations of Keawe's right here on the Aloha Friday show. So awesome to make that happen. So, Eric, let's start with at the very as early as we can of Auntie, your mom, where she was born, early days that that she shared with you, of early days with her.
Yeah, well, my mom. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, my mom was actually she was born in Kaka'ako, and she was raised up in Kaka'ako for about 6 years until she was 6 years old. And the place that she was born was called the Hustis Peck Stables, and that was a community home a little small community that was right across the street from the NBC Neil Blaisdell Concert Hall. Right now, there's the Honolulu Club building that is there. You can see here, this is a picture of our aunties and our uncle, and the little girl is my mother, Genoa, and she's
I
being held by her elder sister, Esther. Yeah.
wow.
And my Uncle John and my Auntie Annie. Uncle John lived in the house where his where his uncle lived, uh, and Auntie Annie and Auntie Rosie. So this was back in probably 18 to 1919. My mom was born in October 31st, uh, 1918.
Wow, that's an amazing picture right there. Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she shared that with us, and so I thought I'd bring that out and share that with you
It's
as a
beautiful.
child.
So they're from Kaka'ako, ended up in Laia, yeah?
Yeah, in Laie, her uncle had passed on, which was my grandmother's brother, and his name was Kael Davis. And so my grandmother went over to Laie to take care of the property and passed it on to my uncle John, of that little boy that you saw there. And so now his family lived there. My cousin Greg and my cousin Nona, his sister, and my cousin Chester are there with their. Greg is there with his family, his wife, and his children as well.
Right. So we have Karen saying, Camelo saying, thank you for sharing and bringing the information out today. We get Brother Marty Burns saying, Aloha Friday, brothers. And who else is popping in over here? We get Auntie Kay Bennett, Aloha Eric and Kamaka. We get
Carol Atkins,
Carol. She's saying, Aloha
yeah,
Eric and Kamaka.
she's a
Um,
good friend of my wife.
Sweet, sweet. And
Mhm.
Chef Mitchell Ueno, a good friend of mine on Oahu, he is saying, Eric related to Jeremy Kama Hopkins.
Yep, that's my nephew. My cousin is Momi Kahawai Ola'a, who used to play with my mom,
Uh-huh.
and so that's his grandma. Yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell had a restaurant on Kapuhulu Avenue, right in front of Rainbows that featured all Hawaiian music for a number of times. That was his restaurant right there, right in
Yes.
front of Rainbows.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was
That's
we missed that place now.
I know, right? Um, and Mitchell misses it too. And of course, if the economy would change a little bit, he's always on the lookout to see how he can make that happen again. That experience. So that brings us up to around 1940 or so. Your mom kind of began her singing career with pre-wartime shows. She was with the I see a note over here with George Ho'okano's band in the
Yes.
30s and 40s.
Hmm.
And so
She,
she,
yeah, she was. She actually started off as a pop singer and sang with George Holcano and his band that would do officer club music as well as private events and private gigs.
yeah. Here's Mitchell going, corner kitchen. I love my corner kitchen, man. He goes, me too. Looking for another place. I miss that place. Here's a good
Awesome.
friend from Torrance, Eric Yamaguchi, going, aloha kamaka and Eric. Eric's a,
Aloha.
yeah, Eric's a good buddy of mine, local boy. We won't hold it against him. He grad McKinley, but we won't hold it against him. It's okay. Um, so she began singing lunch hours with Johnny Almeida, right? And around
Yeah.
1946, she did her first recording of Miley Swing, 49
Hmm.
State Records. Tell us about that. That happened.
Yeah. The connection with Uncle John K. Almeida was the one that started her with the Hawaiian music. Uh, you know, they lived out in Kuli'o'o, out in Luna Little Home Road back in the day during her younger years, and she moved into downtown Honolulu on Miller Street, right where in the area of the current DOE building is, the Department of Education building. And one day, Uncle John Keawe invited people to come down to the station to sing, and so she was pried on by her friends. And back in the day, it was mixed culture. I mean, she had a lot of Japanese friends that was living in that same community. So they prodded her and told her, "Hey, the old man asking for you to go sing, or asking for people to go down to the station." And so she took the invite and went down and sang a song. And the song that she sang was "For You Ale," and that song was dedicated to my cousin Momi Kahavai Ola'a, who was her musician during her last during her last years of performance, and that is Jeremy Hopkins' grandmother. And that was the only song she knew. She said, or Hawaiian song. And then after that, Uncle John took her by the hands, and helped her to move forward in singing more Hawaiian songs. And she started the recordings with Mr. Ching, who owned 49th State Records, and then it was all of her friends that joined her.
Interesting. You know what? Let's go back in time to 1946. Listen to a little bit of the Malie swing. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Sweet and lovely, ke ona ona o ka maile.
Okay.
Allah ho he no sure I ka pilipoli.
So pretty.
Nanea evale luana ka ila.
This was one of her last recordings that she did, which was not released. It was done in 2005. And on this recording, you have two generations: my mother, myself, and my brother Gary.
So this Malie swing, of course, we're listening to a later version, but this was a song that she recorded initially, right? Back in the 40s.
Yeah, it was on the album Hawaiian Souvenirs.
Nice. So right about that time, you sent me, and I really, really began to, the tracks you sent me. And we're so blessed, Eric, that you sent us here for the Aloha Friday show some music that really has not been heard by very many people, some deep tracks, if you will, that folks that just have not heard. And you're so much aloha to share with us today. And I want to go back, and this is noted here. This is Alika, 1950, it says. On this particular song, it comes... Woo!
Really upbeat. There. That's the group right there. That's Uncle Alika Kaniakua on the steel guitar, Auntie Emma Kamaka on the guitar, my mom, Auntie Naughty Abby, and Jimmy Sale on bass. And I think everybody remembers Lucky Luck.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit. Her getting onto the Lucky Luck show. Robert Luck is very popular there. It's about 1951 to 55. She was part of the Lucky Luck show on TV, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Classic. Classic,
But
classic.
I remember even when in the late 50s when I used to watch it on television. It was on KHON TV. Lucky Luck would introduce, and later he called it Genoa Keawe's Luau. Genoa Keawe's Luau show.
And rightly so. Classic.
Yeah, and you know, back in the day, Lucky also had a bar that was out in Hawaii Kai. It was Lucky Luck's bar that is right on the corner of Kalaniana Ole and Luna Lilo Home Road.
Wow.
So some people remember it and some people don't, but yeah, there was a bar out there.
And so as we move into the 60s here, she sang with the Honolulu Rapid Transit Musicians on Hawaii Calls on KGU radio. So she was on TV, she was
Mhm.
on radio. I mean, talk about the media that was available there. She was definitely using or taking advantage of or employing the use of media of her day with great results. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it was because people loved her voice, they loved her music, and they loved her very much that they a lot of people helped her move in that direction. And all she had to do was just sing and entertain individuals, entertain the people, and everybody was successful.
Hmm. Um, and then as we get into the mid 60s over here, she goes from 49 State recording label, and then she goes to Hula, and then at some point she is at the. Did you say she was at the Halekulani and she meets a couple that ask her about her recordings or about her music?
Yes, she was with 49th, and as you mentioned, and then Hula Records with Mr. Don McDermott. And then she was working at Halikulani one night, and she had a couple come to visit her. They would always come and visit her, but this time when they came, they asked her. She said, "How come you don't have your own record company?" And she said, "Well, you know, you need money." And later on, in their association, that couple, Mr. and Mrs. Philip Helsley, said, "We want to help you start your own record company, and we're going to fund you." And they started off the funding for the Genoa Keawe Records Incorporated, which incorporated in 1967, October, November 1967.
Amazing, truly, truly
But
amazing.
but from that, my mom only knew how to play music, and then from that point on, she was like, "Okay, let's take a dive, and then let's move in the direction that we need to move." So she recorded, then she marketed, and then she manufactured it. Actually, had it manufactured, and they all came in this 33 RPMs albums and these large albums. And we used to have to carry those things from the upstairs to the downstairs whenever we had inventory coming to the house. And we were also taking orders in the house back in the early late 60s. It was just our home phone, and we would answer, and she said, "Oh, is Janelle there?" And then we would have people calling from Crest Store, we would have people calling from House of Music, and there was a store out in Wahiawa, there was a store out in Kahala. There were stores all over the islands, even from Maui. We had stores calling Maui and from Big Island and all over the island, and Kauai. And she would either mail them out to them, or we would, my my brothers and my cousin, we would have to take the distributions to the various stores that called for their orders.
So here we have one of the albums um, on the Genoa Keawe label, Aloha to Aloha Grill. So uh, Tell us about Aloha Grill.
Well, Aloha Grill, she performed there in the mid 70s to 79. 79, this was the closing. Mr. and Mrs. Bob Teruya uh, closed Aloha Grill. And so this was the final hurrah with this recording. And it's a live recording. So you'll hear everybody talking in the background. Then you'll hear Genoa giving instructions to people, come sit in the front, come in the front, or telling the Haoli girls, the hula dancers, who belong to Auntie Leilani Mendez and also for Auntie Hui Park, Haoli girls, you girls come in the front, you know. So you can hear all of this stuff going on, and so it was one of the popular uh, recordings that she did. Another one that another nightclub, the more popular nightclub that she did was in Club Polynesia. Now this was in the early years, and this was in the 50s, and that possible that other recording that you heard on Alika, that was recorded there at Club Polynesia, and that one she worked in the 50s, and then they got fired. They got fired for Mr. Herman Fong was a proprietor for Club Polynesia back in the day. Back in the day, downtown they had Club Hubba Hubba, and there were a lot of other musicians that were playing, and they would take turns during their breaks to go stand in the line or to come in to go visit the other musicians and entertainers, because sometimes there were long lines out there in downtown Honolulu just to get in. And so, Club Polynesia was a big thing. When they got fired, Mom still continued entertaining. She got fired because she wanted to go to Japan. She had a Japan tour to do, and she asked Mr. Fong, "Can we go do the Japan tour, and can we come back?" And Mr. Fong said, "No. If you guys leave, you guys pow." So my mom left. She left. And so, que sera, sera. She continued playing her music. She went to Japan. She made a lot of good friends, and she was one of the first entertainers back in the 60s, early 60s, to go to Japan. And they were playing Hawaiian music already. They had people playing steel guitar, and
Wow.
so all she had to do is just jump right in. Um, then later on in the mid 60s, she actually owned Club Polynesia with her cousin Auntie Millie, Auntie Millie Miller, who married Uncle Bob. Bob, my mother, and Uncle Joe. There was an Uncle Joe who actually took care of the kitchen as a cook.
Huh.
They together went into Club Polynesia, and that was another roaring nightclub where everybody would come, and there would be long lines. And if you know Club Polynesia, it was right across the street from Liberty Theater. But I recall in those days, my mom, we would have to go down every Saturdays and Sundays to go clean up Club Polynesia, just so that they could get it ready for the next night of entertainment.
Get the bucket, get the mop, get the pino. Let's go.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I have
And
two
then when
cuts
we
of
found we could shoot pool.
yeah, shoot pool. That's the reward, right? You can shoot pool till everything clean.
Yeah.
So I have two cuts you sent me, Wai Ali Ali and Kahui Kahui Lavai. Um, which song will be representative of where we're at right now? Wai Ali Ali?
Wai Ali Ali, and Wai Ali Ali. And you gotta listen to this. So this one at the ending will have the good night with the MC Jimmy Sale saying the good night, and what would to everybody from Hawaii Radio Broadcasting. Back then in the day, they did 15-minute segments of each nightclub.
Huh. So she had a radio hookup at the nightclub as well. So
There was somebody from the radio that actually went in and did these recordings, and she was so fortunate. A dear friend of hers recorded all of these, and he put them all on vinyl, and his name was Mr. Kent Gerard. and he was a kumuhula as well, Mr. Kencherod. So listen to this, but listen to the ending, and then you'll hear the one of the favorite songs that my mom always sang at the close of our show at the Marriott was "Good Night, Baby, Good Night." And when I heard this, it just brought me back.
Well, let's listen to a little bit of your mom and the Genoa Keawe radio. This is classic stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say good night. For the past quarter hour, you have been listening to the music of Genoa Keawe, Aunty Genoa, and yours truly, Jimmy. Mr. Herman Fong, proprietor of Club Polynesia, invites you every night except Sunday for a real Hawaiian time. We open every night with good Hawaiian food and lots of fun. So come on down and meet the gang and have a real luau time. So we say good night, sleep tight, pleasant dreams, and aloha.
How you like that?
Wow.
How you like that?
Amazing, amazing. This shot we're looking at now, where was it taken? What was the event here? Do you remember?
You know, I don't know where this was taken. I found this picture on the wall at Haile's Foods out in Kapahulu, and I asked the I guess the two sisters that own it, where that came from, and they couldn't even remember. But I'm looking at the American flag back there, and one of the things that come to mind was that Mom did luau's there at the American Legion Veterans Hall down there at Alawai.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that place?
I remember the American Legion Club. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing I can guess, and I'm just guessing. So, that's the best I can give.
Classic. I tell you, classic. Kimi A is saying aloha.
Yeah.
And a
Thank you
shout
so much.
out to the wonderful work that Kimi A is doing with the Haku Collective.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen so many of the wonderful things that the Haku Collective is doing. Talk about nurturing, encouraging, inspiring young talent, Hawaiians and Hawaiians at heart, and going for the opio, for the children, for the keiki, and for the talent that is there. So fantastic job, and a shout out to the Haku Collective. Beautiful work there, Kimie. Please continue that wonderful work that you do. And there is. She
kind of reminds me of my mom.
Yeah. There is Pomaika'i right there. She's saying aloha, mahalo nui for the kokua, the ho'omaika'i, on everything you do to uplift Hawaii's youth and music. There you go, Haku Collective, Imua, Haku Collective. Forward on that. Now would be a wonderful time, and let me see if I can do this magic over here. I want to bring in, and they've been waiting patiently in the collective green room over here. Pomaika'i, your daughter and your granddaughter, Malie, has been in the green room so patiently, and they've been playing music. They've been having a party. So we're going to interrupt them and let's make sure that we can bring them right in right now. Okay, can we see them? Let me see here. I gotta do a little smoking magic over there. Whoo, you guys. Um,
Aloha. Aloha.
aloha.
Check.
Let
Sound
me just
check.
bring all this in right now. You know, I created some things over here, and let's see if I can grab them real fast. Uh, and Oya, Kamaka, you did it. You went travel all the way back to the graphic department. There we, there we go, you guys. Welcome, Pomaika'i. Welcome, Malie. So, you know, I know in the green room you've been eavesdropping on what you and your grandpa and your dad has been talking about with Tutu and Pomaikai. You know, I also have been seeing the wonderful things you do. Pomaikai, I know you are an educator. You tutor, you mentor. You also do things with Mana Maole, which is a nonprofit as well. Tell us a little bit about Mana Maole and you know, how what you do to contribute toward Namea Hawaii.
Well, Mana Maoli is one of the many nonprofits that I've had the opportunity to work closely with. But uh, their main focus is to empower Hawaii's youth, and we do that with the Manamele project through music and multimedia services directly into the schools. So we are teaching music that is focused around academics, business, and culture. So, you know, making the ties between those things to help students understand and figure ways that they can be able to advance in those areas. You know, they want to become better students, better business people in the future, and to become more closely tied to things of culture, and more specifically Hawaiian culture, because we live here in Hawaii. But we do tap into all kinds of music genres. So it's not just Mele Hawaii, although that is a preferred focus. We do collaborate and learn and explore all the different types of music throughout the world.
Good. So this picture we have up now. What was happening here with this young man and with his ukulele there?
Oh, Dad! If I knew you were going to share that, we would have called them to come in and tune in. But that is my nephew Mahoy, who a few years ago had suffered a traumatic brain injury, and you know, we were helping him to recover, and one of the things that I did from the very beginning was to leave an ukulele with him at his hospital room, so that anybody who came by, visitors, or even when he became able to, he could pick it up and just play around on it. And you know, miraculously, from what was a very grim situation for him, he was able to recover and leave the hospital in 3 months, which, to know how he went in was a miracle. And so we went back to the hospital to give back to the children, and he participated in it, and we decided that we wanted to do some ukulele workshops for the kids there. And you know, for some of them, they could barely even hold the instrument, but just to have it on top of them already brought a smile to their faces. And so Mahoy was a big part of that, and he had his own message to share. He said, "Don't pick the easy songs to try and play. Pick the hard songs. Because if you pick easy, you're not going to get better. You need to pick hard and challenge yourself." So I loved that about his message.
Wow, that's beautiful here. And so you also, and I see some familiar faces over here alongside with you, Mr. Seabury as well. So you perform with these gentlemen fairly regularly, or was this a special occasion?
That was that was at the request of my cousin Oli, who coordinates things over there at Lunalilo Homes. But they have their annual fundraising luau, and so they invited us to be a part of the music performances. And so, yeah, I would say I perform pretty regularly with these guys. I don't have a set group, but these are, you know, two of the small circle of musicians that I can always count on and depend on if I need some kokua with performances.
Yeah.
Come on, that's Jeremy over there with the U bass.
Okay.
Jeremy Hopkins. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And Haku, we see him every year at NAM. He comes up with kamaka ukuleles, and we get a chance to interact with him as well. And so, you know, your time and your life is certainly full here, Pomaika'i, with you know, being an educator, being a mentor, being involved with a nonprofit organization, being involved with, and you have a family as well to also love and to cherish too. And from that has also inspired your children, who also have learned to speak Olelo Hawaii. They're also musicians. They're also dance hula, and all of that is, my goodness, Tutu is smiling and saying, and her eyes are twinkling. I can just see when she sees her mo'opuna, you know, doing that. And so this is something, and I know you had also a special relationship with Tutu. What are your earliest memories with Tutu and her music and where she played? We were talking about that. Tell us a little bit about your memories with Tutu.
Well, you know, I grew up in the same household as her. I think we only moved away for a short time when we were living in California because of a job opportunity that Dad had. But we came back soon after my grandfather, my Tutu man, passed away. And I was able to always be just right down the hall or across the hall from her. And, you know, so I heard when she was on phone calls with people and she would be singing and practicing in her room. And she always had one of those Long's cassette players with a little handle, you know, like this shape. The small ones, they were like $10 at Long's. And then she made sure to buy a whole case of brand new cassette tapes, which we have like little packs here and there. And we have boxes full of cassette tapes because she would just pop it in and record everything, record concerts, record radio shows. She would record her practices. And so I heard everything. And it was, you know, it became, I guess, something that kind of came easy for me when it came time for me to try actually singing. I never thought that I would sing. I always thought that I would just dance hula. But when I was encouraged to try to sing in the style that she was singing in, I was kind of shocked with how easily it just came out. And of course, I had a lot of refining to do. I wasn't good right from the start. I had practicing to do, but to be able to sing and sound like her, you know, it really the osmosis and surrounding and immersion really does work.
Well, you use one big word by you get your talent by osmosis. we had some good words today, right, Eric? Right off, I went use the word matriculate within the first 5 minutes. I had a troll. You know, okay. I gotta say, because us guys, you know, I know that Pomai went to Punahou, which is a wonderful opportunity for her. But back in the day, Roosevelt and Punahou were arch enemies over here. Major competition, football, and we had the paintbrush trophy. Us guys used to go over to Alexander Field, dig up the track when they before they had the track. The farmers. I don't know if.
What about the one you gotta paint the towers when you go paint the tower red instead of blue?
yeah. I don't know if there is what they call that after a certain time, you know, you cannot be prosecuted for those things. I don't know if there was an expiration date for us being kolohi over there, but and the same thing with those guys from Punahou come over and make all kind be real kolohi on our campus. But it was good fun. Yeah. But so I had to throw out one big word, and then Pomaika'i came right back with osmosis. So we right in. So Pomaika'i, you also now, and you have a lovely young lady sitting right next to you, Malie, and I am so delighted with your voice and your playing, and you pick up the steel. And I think that would be a good time. Let's listen to a little bit of. Let me see which I'm going to find this one right here because this one is Malie. This is Papa. Where is it? Uh, yeah. Let's play this, and then I'd like to have Malie talk a little bit about playing and about uh, this. So let's just jump right into some music.
Yeehaw! That's her on the steel.
Papa hana moku akea
Papa hana moku akea
Moana nui akea
Moana nui akea
Eo, eo,
Eo, eo Eo
Yo!
Mano, kailio ono Ika ua ia Kohala Manu He'i manu There is a life in the sea A place for all creatures For you and for me Just like
This is beautiful. Tell us a little bit about who's performing on this track, and
Oh, so this, I was asked to be a part of helping sing this song for Kimmy's children's album, and there's a guy in the song. His name is Dylan Pakele. He's the son of Kalana Pakele, and I got to meet him for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I just want to say thank you to Kimmy for giving me that opportunity because that was my first time recording my voice in the studio, so it was a good experience for me to have. And at first I thought I was only gonna play steel guitar. They did warn me that I would have been a backup singer, but then I had no idea I was gonna be one of the lead singers. So when she told me to go in to record my voice, I was super nervous and scared. But yeah, the song came out really good and I like it.
Kimie is saying right there. Kimie is saying that Malie is channeling her grandma, her tutu. Absolutely. We have Carol is saying, I'm so happy to listen to Malie's song here in Arizona on Hawaii 105 app. So they have a Hawaiian station over there, and they are listening to your song, Malie, in Arizona. How's that?
So I'm really grateful to Kimie and her Haku Collective Ohana because it was our good friend Brad Watanabe that knew about her steel guitar skills and really wanted to do, I think, was add steel guitar to this track, and she ended up on lead vocals. And as a mother, you always want these kinds of things for the children, and so I've always groomed her in Mele Hawaii, and I've always encouraged her to sing whatever she wants to sing. But as a parent, you can only go so far to mentor and teach your children, right? Before they tune out after 1 minute of you telling them what to do, right, Dad? Yeah, and then 1 minute of talking, and then your children will tune out.
Malie, that's not true, Malie, right? Malie, wait. Hold up. Malie, you and Uncle, we gotta talk right now. No, when your tutu man and your mom say something, you listen because you are, you're a good keiki and you're good haumana and you want to soak in all of that, right?
Right.
Right, Uncle, right.
So just like me, I was just like that, yeah. So, but but anyway, you know, like the studio session that she went in to do it, it was a one night thing. We scheduled it. I dropped her off at the studio. Kimie and B-Dub were there to work with her, and you know, which is what Kimie's organization is all about, you know, helping our youth to find their voice and to be able to express themselves, very similar to what we do with Malie. And it's just, it makes a difference when you allow other people to mentor your children like that. And for her, you know, I dropped her off and then I came back in the last like half hour to pick her up. And I was just blown away by what I was hearing and seeing. And I, you know, all of us, even Dad can attest to this, like where did this voice come from? I swear, even in the first verse, I thought the first verse was Kimie singing. And by the time we got to the second verse, I said, "Oh, there you are." And they looked at me, they go, "That was her in the first verse too." I was like, "What?"
Where did that come from?
Right. So, you know, like just in Hawaiian culture, we have what's called that hale noa, or that place where we can all come together and to just acknowledge the fact that we can only teach our children so much. It really does take a village to raise them. And so when you allow your children to be under the mentorship of other people who are experts or professionals in their craft, you know, you open so many more doors for them. And so Haku Collective, Mana Maoli, they've just given Malie so many opportunities to progress that I couldn't have done myself. And I've also like to give a shout out to Kelly Cruz, who's our lead audio engineer at Mana Maoli, because over the past 4 years, she's been mentoring Malie as an audio engineer. And I don't know of any other Wahine audio engineers in Hawaii. And so for Kelly to be doing what she does with the Mana Maoli audio, you know, on all of our music videos, the Hawaii 78, the Hawaii Aloha, the Island Style and OEVA, she's the lead. Malie is learning under her. It just warms my heart and makes me happy to know that she's under the mentorship of such Wahine Mana is the term we use.
Beautiful. Eric,
Dad, I think I saw your hand raised.
Yeah. We also need to give credit to Uncle Alan Akaka for teaching her the steel guitar back when she was a little girl. But I gotta say, on behalf of a proud dad, that these two girls, ever since they were small, they were like sponge. They're just like sponge. And once they grasped what was going on, it was you couldn't stop them. They kept on drinking water. They kept on soaking up water. And then Malie came along, and it was wow. And when she got on the steel at that age of 9 years old, she was another sponge that was just soaking it up, and they were soaking up so fast. I mean, they were doing things. Now Malie is doing things that her mom never got to do at that same age, and Pomai was just getting into the act as far as being on stage and being on, whereas Malie has been doing it for the past 2-3 years now.
Yeah. Here's Ona. She's saying, "So proud of you, Malie. Keep it up, babes. We love you." That's so sweet. Here's Kimie says, talking about Malie, she gave us all chills. Oh, chicken skin right there, Kimie says. No doubt about that. I've got something over here I wanted to share, and I thought this was amazing because Joseph K. Kuku, Kamehameha School boy, is credited with being the innovator to create the style that we now know as the steel guitar by creating the slide. And there is young Malie with her own steel guitar right there. Malie, what were you thinking as you sat there next to Joseph K. Kuku?
That was, how old was I when we went?
Probably like 9.
Oh, yeah, I still remember going. We went for the reveal of that statue. I didn't really think much of it then. All I knew was he was the inventor for the steel guitar. But like now I'm glad he's finally getting like recognized because more people are like telling the story of him and how it started and like the origin of the instrument.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to go to that event, I think it was kind of cool. Like I was super young too.
Sure.
And, yeah.
Sure. Here's brother.
And she also has her younger brother who started on steel guitar with Alan. And I also want to acknowledge, they're not here with us today, but the other, her three siblings are doing something to perpetuate the tradition of our ohana as well musically. Her youngest brother has also started on steel guitar. The one right below her, Josepa, knows how to play the upright bass. And then Ziona is our hula dancer. And she dances with Hiva Vaughn, Halau Kalehua Tuahine. She also just recently was awarded the position of May Day Queen. So we're trying to prepare her for that. But all of them play the ukulele. They all started on the ukulele, and so we also have to give a shout out to Kamaka Ukulele and the Kamaka Ohana, who were so gracious to make sure that each of our children had an ukulele, and it really has brought them, a long way to be able to continue our ohana tradition of music. For that, but all of them play the ukulele, and it really has brought them to be able to continue.
Sweet. Here's brother Don Kaokai. He's saying mahalo for sharing the legacy and the beautiful talent which carries the voices that touches the soul. Well said there from Reason Cinco. And here is Kevin Nappy Napoleon, brother, originally from Nanakuli, now living right here in Southern California. His son is Bo Napoleon. So he and Bo do music here. So this is Bo Napoleon's dad. And he's saying super talented ohana, he's saying. Yeah.
Kevin, Nappy is... yeah.
We love it.
We related to that Napoleon ohana too. So our kids married into the Napoleon. So is Nappy, is that his father? Yeah.
Nappy will respond over there because... I met Nappy through Titus, Uncle Titus, who passed away. But Uncle Titus is an amazing musician. But Napoleon family, super talented as well. Here's Ken Ing, Kamehameha School boy, saying "Imua," loving it. And we have quite a few comments coming in over here that I didn't want to miss. They're coming in really fast and furious over here. But thank you so much for your comments.
I want to thank Brother Don, Cousin Don, for introducing us to you, Kamaka, and thank you for the blessing and the opportunity that is given to us.
I am so humbled and so grateful that Keawe Ohana accepted the invitation to join us on our Aloha Friday show. Here's Naps. He's saying, "We Ohana for sure, brah."
Hey, Kamaka, don't forget that Kahui Lavai has 4 generations on that recording. It's got my mom, my brother and I, Pomaika'i, and Malie on the steel guitar. We did one of those Nat King Cole things. We put her right in there. Yeah. So she did this recording in 2005. And then when Kamaka Ukulele celebrated their 100 years, they asked for a song. And we gave them this song. And she went in and did, like Malie always does, a one take, and that was it. One take. Gaylord was shocked.
This was her first time in the studio recording steel guitar. So the Papa Hunt Kimi's one was the first time on vocal, and this is the first time on steel.
Sweet. I have that queued up, and we're going to close out. We're going to close out our show with that song, I just wanted to share over here that Malie is a junior at Kamehameha School Kapalama. She's a member of the Concert Glee Club. In her freshman year, she also played alto saxophone in a marching band. Malie, I was going to say you were a triple threat, but I think you what is the like on octopus, like on hey, get eight. I think you in eight shred. I mean, counting off all the stuff you can do. And by the way, just let me say this. And Eric, you and I were talking about that the other day when we were sharing about your mom. Yeah, that in what was this? I'm looking at my notes over here that the Pacific Business News, recognized Aunty Genoa Keawe, women who mean business. And you shared with this, and I was thinking about this when we were talking about Malie, because there's full circle over here in my head that, Aunty Genoa was a producer. She did a marketing, she did sales, she did the accounting, she did the distribution. She did it all. And when we're talking with you, Pomaika'i, she did not have a template. She sought advice of folks around her, and she employed the various different techniques to be a successful businesswoman. She did it all, and so Malie is not just content, as I'm hearing, with being a musician and singing, but now she wants, she now will have the talent to get into the production room, to be a audio engineer. She can walk into a studio, she can get behind the board, she knows that stuff, and you get into video editing, and off you go with a consummate professional, very much like Malie, very much like your great grandmother, very much like it. And it's chicken skin when you think about it, man, because that ingenuity and that entrepreneurship and that desire to do it runs thick in that Keawe blood, and that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We come near the close of our time together, and we have so much more to talk about. We got to do this again, and take it to the next level over here. Maybe have some of the other Keawe ohana, and talk more about what we're doing, and let our friends know about the work, more of the work Pomaika'i of what we were talking about earlier, the not only Haku Meli, the Haku Connection collective, but also the work that you do, with what did we talk about here? Oh, real quick here.
Malie. So
Yes.
if you are interested in learning more about what our ohana does, or myself or Malie, you can follow Malie, you can follow the Haku Collective page, the Genoa Keawe Foundation page, and of course, I think I'm the only one of the three of us who has a music page, Pomaika'i. But we generally post what's happening with us. And, I did post in my story that we were going to talk about Tutu's trip to Niihau, but maybe for another time.
Yeah.
Dad does have special audio that I think, it would be fun for people to hear. Dad actually has a whole collection of things.
Sweet.
So anytime you can get Dad on a show, like, you're going to be treated to special things that nobody else has any.
We gotta do part two. We gotta do Ilo. We gotta do part two. This is too amazing to let go. And I did have I was amazed by what you were talking about, Pomaika'i. Her day planner, the events, that trip to Niihau. We need to talk about that, and we're gonna do that in part two for sure. Big mahalo nui loa. Thank you so much. So grateful to Pomaika'i and Malie. Brother Eric, thanks so much. And we're going to close out our show with, what did we talk about, Eric? Who was playing on this one?
I gotta go on to another Zoom.
Okay.
Aloha,
Hello, everyone. So